Well, today we have raised the dress code for our Thursday video, so here we are. This is the best I can do. Anyway, that's enough of that. You probably know a person in your life that when you see them coming, you think to yourself, oh, what's it going to be today? That person's like either very negative, or they just drain you, or they're judgy, or they're critical, or maybe they're just insulting. You probably know somebody like that. And when you see them coming, all you're concerned with is how you can move them along or how you can kind of get out of that situation. And I can assume you know someone like that. But if you don't, maybe you're that person for somebody. Anyway, I don't mean to be that guy, but that's exactly what I want to share with you and with us today, is to make certain that you and I are not the kind of people that when others see us coming, that they're glad when we have left them, and that they're better off when we are with them. I want to make sure we're making that jump, that when people see you coming, they're not like, oh, here they come. That when they see you go, they're like, I just feel better that they were here, and I'm kind of sorry to see them go. For this is exactly what I see in Daniel's life. And this is what we've been looking at and covering over the last several weeks, and examining his life, that he was placed in a culture that was opposed to his belief in God. And even in that, you would think there'd be this high contention and fighting among people, but yet people viewed Daniel in a very positive light. It's what's fascinating to me is how Daniel, gets along with the chief official, the guard. This indicates to me that Daniel was a pleasant guy to be around. You can see even the guard, he's willing to compromise with Daniel. Now that indicates to me that there's some level of respect and appreciation for Daniel, for the guard is certainly in a place of authority and definitely does not need to compromise with someone under his authority. And this is all taking place in the context of Daniel chapter 1. But even more than that, I'm impressed with another person who has absolute authority and still sees Daniel the same way. And I'm talking about King Nebuchadnezzar. In Daniel chapter 1, verse 19, the scripture says this: the king talked with them and found none equal to Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, and they entered the king's service. The king brought these men into his service. On some level, that indicates that, he at least just wanted them around him. They were people that lifted him up. They were people that he was glad were in his presence. But we're going to take that to another level, because if you were to just jump over to Daniel chapter 2, you see something really incredible happen. The king has a dream, and he demands that the wise men and enchanters not only know his dream without him telling it, but that they interpret it. And they basically say nobody can do that. And the king gets furious. Nebuchadnezzar is furious. He says, you know what? Kill them all. That's a way to handle things. They couldn't know the dream. They couldn't interpret it. It's an amazing thing. And then here's a guy that comes along who is commissioned with being the executioner. And that his name is Arioch. And he's commissioned to execute all of the wise men. And he comes to Daniel, and Daniel actually buys some time with him. And he listens to Daniel. That blows my mind. It's yet another guy that sees him in a positive light. And he buys him some time so he can go talk to the king. And then Daniel goes and talks to the king, which is amazing too. I mean, think about that. The Nebuchadnezzar, who just decreed that all of these wise men should be executed, is willing to hear what Daniel has to say. Look, when you're the king, you don't just let anybody talk to you. And if you don't like that person or respect that person, you're certainly not going to hear what they have to say, especially when they're on the chopping block. Very simply put, Daniel was the kind of person you wanted to be around you. And that's made clear by Nebuchadnezzar's response to him. So my challenge for you and for myself is this: to be the person that everybody wants you to be around. When you interact with people every day, that people would view you like the king viewed Daniel, like Arioch viewed Daniel, like the guard viewed Daniel, like the chief official viewed Daniel. In other words, to make sure that you're the kind of person that people are glad that when they see you come, and they're sorry to see you go. In other words, that when you interact with people, that you leave them better off than you found them. Let's be that to the world around us, to be encouraging, to be a blessing, to just be a bright spot in somebody's day. It's my challenge to you and me today, to find somebody that we can be an encouragement to.